Hello, friends. Cowboy Jobu here with the Jobu Sports Report, and I am back in the United States. That's right, I am back in good old America. Thank God. Now, of course, as always, friends, thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click over here, the picture of me and Sean Lee, so that way you can have the Jobu Sports Report. Well, of course, I've got to check in with the guys at First Take. You know, they're talking about what else? The Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo. And they think he hasn't signed his retirement papers, so that way, if something happens to Dak Prescott, boom, he can jump in. Let's go to the tape and check it out.
That's what you just heard. Could the accident still happen this season? Tony Romo isn't inking those papers just yet, according to our Todd Archer, leaving that window open to trade the broadcast booth in for the gridiron. On that note, we know you like that little tune.
That soundtrack was terrible.
That was for you.
That
you
was
were,
absolutely,
why were you cheesing
I
the
wasn't
whole
smiling.
time? Oh,
Was
you
I
were
smiling?
yes.
Oh,
you were
please.
getting into
great
it.
song.
That's
one of the greatest videos ever. That's one of the greatest videos. I don't know what damn award it's for, but it's going to win an award. I'm telling you that right now. I'm telling you.
He's right about that, guys.
In Bangladesh,
No future fronting down.
You're going triple platinum in Bangladesh.
Oh,
that's what will happen.
Well, you be quiet. You know what? Darren, Darren, it's very, very nice to see you. I haven't seen you quite much since January. It's only like the second time I've seen you. It's very nice. It's a Darren Woodson sighting. Congratulations. How you doing, bro?
Hey, listen,
How you doing?
I've been around.
I haven't seen you. I haven't seen you. I haven't seen you.
You have not called me, Max.
Has
disappeared himself.
Michael Irvin was hiding for months, and then after that he huddled with T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes gave him a sermon to deliver on First Take, so he showed up. It didn't work, and then now here you come. It's not going to help. It's not going to help.
Aaron, you did take a hideout after the Cowboys lost. Now, you did take a hideout. We were looking for you.
Okay, I've been on the show since now, Max. Come on now. Give me a break here. I was around. You guys didn't call me on.
Okay, I like that story. Let's stay with that revisionist history that you just created. Stephen A., I want to start with you. What do you make of it, of Tony not signing the papers to retire? So there's the window still open.
You know, the bottom line is clear. This love affair, I'm sure Darren Woods' sort of love letter that Jason Witten wrote to Tony Romo. I mean, it was so touching. I mean, my Lord, I don't know people in relationships that get a letter like that. I mean, it was something special to behold. I read the whole letter over my radio show. That's how touched I was by the letter. So let's throw that. Let's put that in the equation. So you got the love letters from Jason Witten. All right, you got Jerry Jones after Tony Romo was watching his grandson play football along with him, a little pop water football and all of that stuff. It's clear that the adopted son of Jerry Jones, because that's what Tony Romo is, the adopted son of Jerry Jones is somebody that Jerry Jones and most of the Cowboys are very, very reluctant to let go of. What strikes me as so odd is how no one has picked up on how this is disrespectful to Dak Prescott. Because let me tell you something, he's not phased by it by any stretch of the imagination or anything like that. But it's like it's everybody somehow, some way. There's always a reminder. Boy, Tony Romo, we wish you weren't gone. Boy, Tony Romo, we wish you were still here. Boy, Tony Romo, we wish you were the one throwing those passes to Des Bryant. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott came out there, flat out ball to the point where it's actually got me rooting for a Cowboy. I actually wish Dak Prescott well. I actually wish him well. I'm actually rooting for him. I hope that he plays well, because let me tell you something right now. He has been the level of appreciation that he has you didn't hear Jerry Jones begrudgingly. I mean, up until the last breath did he held on to Tony Romo. He was forced to concede that Dak Prescott is his guy. It's a damn shame.
Well, why does this have to do with anything about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys? Why can't this just be about Tony Romo keeping his options open just in case things don't work
the Cowboys
out? Just in case.
Time out, Darren. Let me just take this for a second. Darren, let me
I'll
take this for a second, because Stephen A. Smith, it's not enough to lose every argument and be wrong all the time. He wants to be spectacularly wrong today. First, the NBA gets a D for a
wait for
great
you to be
regular
right.
season
It will
start
really
to
make
bring
the show
regular
better
season.
if you were right once. But go ahead.
And now, you're saying this is disrespectful to Dak? This move makes a lot of sense, primarily, though, because it's very respectful to Dak. Here's the thing. The Cowboys' issue in recent years has been no backup quarterback. Defense, too. But their offense has been good enough to compensate for that, so long as they have good play at quarterback. They've had that the last several years when Romo was healthy, but he wasn't healthy. And the backup quarterbacks weren't good enough. Now Dak is the starter, and Romo's gone-ish. So we know their offense is going to be really, really good so long as Dak is healthy. But if anything happens to Dak, what do? Well, if Tony Romo hasn't retired, he's ready to step in. And unlike the situation where if Tony Romo doesn't step away, if he's still on the roster, they have to pay him. They can't save any money to address the defensive backfield and the losses there, which they need to do. And if Dak has a bad game or two, Tony Romo's shadow's hovering over him. There's a quarterback controversy if Romo's on the roster. But if he's removed from the roster, there's less of that. And yet if he doesn't retire, he's ready to step in. It's like having a backup quarterback hidden away, stashed away for
so the Dallas Cowboys,
Darren,
so the Dallas Cowboys have a commentator as their backup quarterback.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, hey, listen, why not? Hey, Max,
Number one commentator.
Max, let me say, from a New York Giants fan to spit all that wisdom, man, that's saying something, brother. I earned some respect from you, Max. But Max is right. He's right. He's right on point. Why not have that option on the backside of things? If you're Jerry Jones, who do you want as your backup quarterback, just in case something happens to Dak? Because we all know the Cowboys are one play away from Dak getting hurt. And then what's going to happen? They're going to be in trouble all over again. They couldn't win without Tony Romo. Dak finally comes in and fills that void. But if something happens to Dak, why not have that security blanket in Romo? And also, I always go back to your option. When you have options, you sit it out there and you let it wait as long as you can. Come back and play the game. But why throw out those retirement papers right now? It doesn't make any sense.
I'm not knocking Jerry Jones for having the option. It makes sense. What I'm saying about Romo is this. First of all, if I'm CBS, I damn sure would have given him the #1 slot since he might leave me high and dry. Okay? I mean, then leave Phil Simms up in there. That's number one. Number two, I'm looking at Tony Romo. Excuse me, where's your pride? Where's your dignity? I mean, you're supposed to be this great quarterback. You're supposed to be this great quarterback. 78 and 49 as a quarterback, completed 65% of your passes, even though you only got 2 playoff victories in 8.5 years. Everybody talking about you like you the second coming of Dan Marino, for crying out loud. A Super Bowl appearance evidently was in his past. It evidently was on his resume. A matter of fact, he might have been at the parade with you if you listen to Cowboy fans enough, Darren Woodson. So to wait. Tony Romo, excuse me, you got all of this going on and Dak Prescott's the starting quarterback. You could have gone to Houston. You could have gone to Denver. You could have put yourself in a position to compete for a Super Bowl champion. But you want to stay a Dallas Cowboy because that's where my heart is. That's
or maybe
what I
he
want to
couldn't
do.
have gone
And if
there
I can't
because
do
they
it,
don't want
then
to.
you know what? I'm going to sit up there and do color commentary. It's unbelievable.
They don't want to plan a
It's
season.
unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Stephen A., those other teams don't want to plan a season around a guy who they know can't stay on the field. That's why he's ideally suited to be a backup for the Dallas Cowboys.
They don't want it for a guy that doesn't want to be there. They don't want it for a guy that doesn't want to be there.
But he's too expensive to be the backup when the Cowboys lost their whole defensive backfield. So, listen, is it ideal? It's better, obviously, if he's in training camp and all those things. They lose that part, yes. But they gain all the money, and they have him, break glass in case of emergency. It makes sense. And from Dak's point of view, the reason it is respectful is if Romo is on the roster, there is always the quarterback controversy. Anytime something goes wrong, they're unlikely to win 13 games again, even though they'll be very good. 13 games is hard to do.
Absolutely.
They win 11 games. Dak loses 2 games in a row, throws an interception. Tony Romo, but not if he's not on the roster. It's not the same kind of pressure. Listen, so it's actually highly respectful.
And I want to go this far. I don't think that, listen, I understand Romo hasn't filed his retirement papers. I don't think, this is not in my heart of hearts and knowing Tony Romo, when he's made the decision to go on and move on to CBS and get in that booth, he's going to be in the booth. And I understand they have options whether he wants to come back or not. And, well, he's perceived as maybe the backup quarterback even through his retirement or because he's not there. But at the same time, listen, this guy is going to move on. I think he absolutely has felt like he's been physically damaged. Mentally, he can't get ready for a 16-game season. That's the reason he didn't go to Houston. That's the reason he didn't look at those options. I think he's at a point in his life and in his career, even though he hasn't filed his retirement papers, where he's moved on from the game. And that's just being real about it.
Okay.
It's just Stephen A. who
All right,
hasn't
y'all.
moved on yet.
It's
I
all
blame
right.
him for most
It's
of the
all right.
damages. He can't let go.
It's all right.
Stephen A.
Listen, let me tell you something
Stephen
right
A.
now.
Gotta give the devil his due.
It's cool.
The devil is due.
Dak Prescott can have another 13-win season, get to an NFC championship game for the first time in over 2 decades. Y'all will still be talking about Tony Romo. All of y'all are pathetic. You're just pathetic. Pathetic.
Darren,
I love
appreciate
that.
you. Sit tight. You'll be back with us
Oh, yeah,
in just a bit.
appreciate it.
We all
Why?
love Dak.
Why is he
How do you
coming
never
back?
think?
Why?
Love me.
Because he's invited.
Hey, friends, Cowboy Jobu here, reporting live from Mexico, where it seems like the party never ends. I never was a good dancer, but what the heck? Jobu reporting live from Mexico, where it's a big party every night.